I got to turn the microphone on. What a dumbass I am. And welcome into the program. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me here. I am in Columbia, South Carolina, where it is a balmy 94 degrees. I'm not here to talk about the weather today, though. I'm here to talk some college football with you and a couple other little things that are in the mix. As I'm doing my show from the studios at my house. I used to do a show for a radio group in Columbia, and things went well, not really awry there. They decided they wanted to go in a different direction there, and so now I've still own my own product, which is this program, and I'm going to continue to do this show. And anyway, we've kind of talked about that before. I appreciate everyone that has contributed to the show. You guys are awesome. Um, I got to thank Jay and Peg and Megan and who else, man? I mean, the list is long for folks that have thrown a few bucks my way to keep the show moving, and I appreciate it as always. You guys are awesome, and some of y'all actually like the show, so I appreciate that. It does mean a lot to me. So, not to get all sentimental and shit. But here's the big thing. Jimmy's asking about my ACC network hat. Yeah, I'm wearing it. It's a fucking collector's item. Yep. It's the way that it is. So Billy said he just got back from PT. I hope that you're able to, you know, fix whatever it is that's broken there, Billy. Billy, you got to respect Billy. He shows up. His knee was basically a freaking question mark, and he's over there, got there getting that worked on. He's jacked up on Vicodin and everything else, and he still tunes in for this program and gets pissed off to the point where Carolina Jackpot laughs at him for getting angry. By the way, speaking of Carolina Jackpot, that is my podcast partner, who is, of course, the best Gamecock YouTuber on the planet. For folks that are watching on Twitter, at Rob Sounds Good. You need to subscribe to the channel at Carolina Jackpot. Yeah, you need to do that. Not only do you get my stuff here, you get the stuff that I do with Carolina Jackpot and the Rockabilly 864 channel where Jackpot does food reviews. The crazy thing about that is that every time he does one of those damn reviews, I want to go wherever it is that he went and try that stuff out. I mean, it is just great. So go and support my brother there, Mr. Carolina Jackpot. All right, so Clemson Dane says Kale is a South Carolina treasure. He is the ultimate South Carolina fan. I'll challenge anyone on that. And by the way, somebody last night, I don't know if I should out this guy on Twitter or not. I mean, I'm sure he's watching the show anyway, but he went back and forth with me on Twitter last night about silly stuff, right? Basically, the gist of it was Clemson, if Clemson joins the SEC, there's no way that Clemson will be competitive. And I was bored. So I went back and forth with this guy for a little bit, and I basically handed him his ass. And he goes, well, I'll put my money where my mouth is. And I just sent a simple tweet back to him. Sir, I don't bet with people who make football comments like you made because generally those kind of people don't pay off bets. Now, why would I say that? Because this guy got pissed. You should know how much money that me and my family have donated to the university. Brother, I don't give a shit. Do you think that makes you more of a fan because you give money to a university? Hey, I hate to break this to you, but hold on. I didn't unplug my headphones. I hate to break this to you, but I know a lot of people that give money to the university that don't give a shit about the university. Oh, yeah. They do it because a lot of their clients, they like to rub elbows with them on a Saturday when the Gamecocks are playing football. And it's a business expense for them. So the idea that I'm going to think that you're a better fan simply because you give money to the university, no, I don't think you're a better fan. Hey, I'm all about you giving money to the university. If that's what you want to do, if you're passionate about it, ridiculous. Uncle Lou is correct. Me and my family is code for his parents. Just because you give money doesn't mean that you are a a better fan than someone else. That's why I'll put Carolina Jackpot up against anybody. You guys have seen him in his reaction videos. He leaves his soul with that Gamecock football program and baseball and everything else, but football really hits him in his heart. If you can't tell that that guy loves football, and by the way, when he sees me and some idiot going back and forth at each other, he doesn't get into that mix. He only cares about his team. Seriously. He is the biggest South Carolina fan ever. I get pissed off when people run their mouth at him too. Not that he's like, that I have to protect him, but it's just silly. Anyway, by the way, we are going to talk about a business expense today. We start with this quote from Jimbo Fisher from before, and I play it because we're going to show you the hypocrisy of Jimbo Fisher.
There is no $30 million fund. There is no $5 million. There is no 10. This is garbage, okay? And it pisses me off that and here it comes from a site called Bro Bible by a guy named Slice Bread. Then everybody runs with it. So it's written on the internet as gospel. How irresponsible is that? And then to have coaches in our league and across this league say it, clown acts.
All right, so he called everybody clowns. So let's get that first, okay? But then yesterday, Mark Stoops at Kentucky. Now, I know there are Kentucky fans that listen to this program. I know the majority of you claim to be football fans, but let's just be honest. You're all about giving John Calipari that bag money so he can get those one-and-doners so you can continue to win basketball games. That's just the way that it is, okay? Let's just be honest. Football is something for you to watch until basketball season starts. None of you give a shit once the Midnight Madness starts, and you can see which future NBA player is out there on the floor that you probably illegally got. We know this. It's okay. Let's just be who we are here on the program today. All right? But Mark Stoops is trying at Kentucky. You got to give him that. They're a scrappy bunch of people, man. What was it last season? Didn't they get shirts printed? They scored on that Georgia defense. Man, they were happy as hell about that. You guys remember that? They thought they could compete with Georgia, and then they score a touchdown on that Georgia first team defense. Woo, let's light the world on fire. I mean, we lost by, what was it? Somebody help me over there. They lost by a lot. But, yeah, they went in there and got themselves hammered. But, hey, they did score. So that was a big deal. But yesterday, and we'll give credit to Kentucky Sports Radio, this clip from Kentucky Sports Radio with Mark Stoops. And this is an interesting piece here. Check this out first.
And I swear I'm not trying to send a jab here. I'm not even going to indicate who I'm talking about. But, I mean, I'm playing against players that I know were given money, and that the school and the NCAA knows we're giving money, and we still play against them. I mean, under the table, not even above board like it is now. I mean, paying them above on top of the table, you're allowed to do that now, but I'm talking about under the table. And so if they can't police it where you're giving people money under the table, how in the world are they going to police it when you're giving it on top of the table?
All right, so that's the first thing where he doesn't name anybody. He didn't go out and do what Nick Saban did, but he said something that we as fans all know. All right, but they treat us like mushrooms, basically. They basically cover us with crap and expect us to grow. All right, but in reality, most people know there are things that happen, and we can argue the logistics of that later on. Here's the thing that got me, though, and that's from this clip from Mark Stoops, where he was talking about basically, listen to what this guy said about NIL and what it's going to take and what he's asking from Kentucky fans.
I'm telling you, yes, it is perfectly legal for people to have a business expense for future marketing expenses that use Kentucky athletes. Gotcha. And that we need that filter. I'm not trying to throw any here, but there's been some very, one is Ryan, I have great respect for a friendship. And he, I think he came out publicly and said, yeah, we need $13 million to keep this roster in place. And then I believe James Franklin came back and said, well, 13, we need 14. I mean, don't quote. exactly on that, but I'm just saying, like, well-respected, good coaches out there that are publicly saying, yeah, we need money. So I'm not going to sit on the bench anymore. I also was on the record 3, 4, 5 months ago saying, hey, listen, whatever it takes, I'm going to fight the fight.
All right, so that is the coach from Kentucky saying, hey, we need this money too. Now, I'm not ripping Kentucky, but are they really a football power? Their coach, though, he's out there and he's saying point blank, look, we need, if you want us to continue to build the product that we've been building in the 9 seasons that I've been here at the University of Kentucky, you folks that have businesses in Lexington, you're going to need to come off some cash. And if he's saying that for Kentucky, we know that what Jimbo Fisher said about there's no $30 million NIL thing, he needs to moonwalk that back quickly. And you know what? If he had a set of balls, which he doesn't because he's a freaking eunuch, he is the epitome of a eunuch, he would apologize to Nick Saban for what he said to him. And that's the absolute truth. He does have $30 million for NIL money. And he got outed by the guy from Bro Bible. Maybe that was his big thing there, is that, hey, I'm going to give this guy the shout out here in my press conference because he sure as hell got the hits for it. Sure as hell got the hits for it. But the interesting part is that teams like Kentucky, and I use them for the example because they just this radio interview was yesterday. That's what he said. Hey, we need these people to do it. And by the way, something else that's interesting too. If you own a business of any kind, let's take fine sponsor of the Rob and Kale show, Callaway's Bar and Grill out in West Columbia. If they wanted to get a Gamecock athlete to come to them to do a meet and greet, and we'll pay your guy $2,000. Do you know how to do that? Just think about that for a second. Nobody really knows. The universities have to get someone there that can control what's going on. And I know people don't want to hear that, but just have a filter that, first of all, if you're a kid and you're trying to set this up, I mean, there's so many things that are in the mix there. Setting it up, making sure that it's the proper way to do it, make sure it's a business that you want to be a part of, make sure it's something that the university agrees with. They've got to get someone there that is essentially an NIL coordinator and can deal with each set of student athletes. If they don't, they're going to get left behind. And the idea, and of course with the expansion and everything else that is right on down the pipe, if you're a university, and trust me, I'm sure that the mega weights, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Clemsons of the world, they've already got this set up. But you better get your stuff together or you're going to get left behind, simply because these kids are going to come there and they're like, wait a minute. My friend that I did 7-on-7s with, he got $300,000, or he got to use a car while he was on campus. Why am I not getting that? Why am I not getting that? I'll cut some ads for a car dealer. I'll tell people to go to insert car dealer here, or we'll use the Uncle Lou who's watching over here, and we appreciate him. Yeah, I'll do a spot on the Uncle Lou show and talk about it's the best damn YouTube show on the planet. I'll do that. Uncle Lou will give me some money behind the scenes here. All of that's completely legal now because you're helping a business. But if you don't have somebody that can actually go out there and sift through some of this stuff, it's going to be a problem. And by the way, Uncle Lou, I've seen some of your videos, man. You've got 10,000 people watching some of your videos. Why have you not gotten some Georgia athlete to come on your program? I could see something that could really draw. You, sir, should be sponsoring the Georgia Lady Bulldogs gymnastics team. Who wouldn't watch Uncle Lou interviewing an athlete from the Georgia gymnastics team? You know you want them to do well. You see that Georgia G on their leotard out there, and they're sprinting around at the SEC championships. You want them to win, right? I challenge you to do that, Uncle Lou. Get on the phone and make that happen. You could probably make that happen for $500-600. They'll do a little stream where they come in with you. You can interview them and talk about that stuff. They'll say, "I watch Uncle Lou's channel." You'll get all the gymnastics moms. All of them will be watching your show. Come on, Uncle Lou, get with it, man. Anyway, he does have a point. I don't work with current athletes because I don't want to be able to trash them if they play bad. Yeah, but you can't rip the Georgia gymnast. They always win. Those girls are always out there winning. I'm just saying. Support some of those folks. Anyway. All right. If you want to talk about this, by the way, the stuff that our good friend, I say our good friend, we may just call him King Douche, Jimbo Fisher said about there's no $30 million. Yeah, okay. You got Stoops out here begging for money on the radio live. He's begging for money. Yeah, but you don't have $30 million. Shut the hell up with that nonsense. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. You can join the program here if you would like to do that, 803-470-2905. The other thing I want to get into today, and it's just something I've been thinking about. You know, everyone wants to talk about the idea of, well, our school owns said school in head-to-head matchups. How much validity is that? How far do you go back? Seriously, when you really stop and think about it, Georgia fans are happy to tell me they've won 43 wins over Clemson, 18 losses. They've won a shit ton of those games. They've been dominant in the series. But in the end, how much of that is really viable? Do we count games from 1897 when Billy was out there strapping them up for Tennessee, putting on his leather helmet? It's just something to think about. In my opinion, the idea of being competitive in a head-to-head set of it, I like the idea of the 20-year window. I didn't call you a gimmick, Uncle Lou. The only thing I've ever called a gimmick is the Tennessee offense, which it's a gimmick offense. I never called you a gimmick, sir. Make sure that I don't need Uncle Lou calling pissed off at me again. I don't need any of that in my life. But getting back to what I was saying, I think it's a 20-year window. When you look at it from that perspective, you can get a good idea of where a program is now and are they at a level where they're competing pretty much on the same level is the way to go. Anyway, we'll take your calls on that. 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. You can join the program if you'd like to chat it up a little bit. Oh, I got to start the phone system here because I'm a dummy. My bad, guys. My bad. 803-470-2905. That is my fault. The phone lines are now open, and look at them now. They're ringing. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, it's Big Barney Ross. I just wanted to call in and say that, first of all, was John Calipari a track star? Did he get a track scholarship when he went to college? I mean, what? Did anybody see him running on that?
Well, you know, at least you're honest and you can admit that that what John Calipari is. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, either Stoops has figured Kentucky's not going to get their 10-win season this year, and he's wanting to go ahead and build up, you know, the excuse and kind of lay that off on the, well, if y'all had paid me some more, we would have had 10 win. Look, or there's somebody he really wants to get on his roster, and he's coming up a little bit of short, and he's not wanting to pony up the bourbon money. Now, there's a lot of coal money in Kentucky, and I have firsthand knowledge about sponsoring or throwing a little cash here and there. And, you know, if he wants the money, he'll get it. Some of the richest people, Papa John's, I mean, you know, Hurstbourne, you got some of the richest in Kentucky.
Respectfully, doesn't Papa John's support Louisville, or does he not care as long as it's Kentucky? He doesn't give a shit.
No, I've been to some of the auctions they've had, and Rick Pitino and Tubby Smith and Calipari, Papa John's. They've all been there. They all just hang out, and a lot of they all live on the same block, really. And They talk. Piranha doesn't eat piranha. So if you think that's just a dog eat dog world, you're wrong. I've personally been in a room with a lot of these people that, Louisville, what's he doing in here? No, it's all about, the dollar has a whole lot, and politics comes in it. But if you're going to say, I have nothing to say, but I will say it often loud until I'm heard, like what Stoops is doing here, I don't know. What's your take on that, Big Barney Ross? I'm out.
Yeah, I wish that coaches would coaches that literally come out and just say, you know what, I think from what I've heard or what I've seen or what a player has told me. Remember, the movie Blue Chips comes to mind when I think about this stuff, where the white kid from Indiana, Shaq was the kid from Louisiana. They had Penny Hardaway from Chicago. Nick Nolte's going out and he's got the white kid from Indiana that supposedly Larry Bird knew. And the white kid told him, well, I'm going to need, a tractor and X amount of money and blah, 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 blah. Coaches hear that kind of stuff. They should put it out there. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey,
Hello.
how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm enjoying the program today.
Thank you.
The only thing like with Bob Stoops, like when Nick Saban had something to say, he said Texas A&M.
Right.
I don't put any credibility behind these people, whether it's a head coach or an internet troll who says, I know someone that got money at a school somewhere that we play. Okay,
right.
Who?
Yeah. That's fair.
I mean,
And,
why can't he name it? Name it then. Unless he's doing it and is afraid to get shot back at, then name somebody. That's all. That's great that he said that, and of course, then he turned around and asked for his people to do the exact same thing.
exactly.
Give him money so he can buy players too. But name the people. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to hang up and continue to dominate the comment section. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I agree with Uncle Lou on if you're going to throw that out there. I'm not trying to throw jabs. Look, let me explain something to you there, Coach Stoops, and not and a lot of other coaches. Okay, you are in we'll use the SEC, and people are going to think that I'm just trying to blow the SEC today, but you could say the ACC, you could say whatever. All right. Here's the interesting piece about that. There are 16 coaches in the SEC. That means that there are only 16 jobs in the SEC, and you have to have a set of balls to come out and say some stuff like that. You might as well go all out. You don't need to be like Nathan was the other night when he was talking about you can have a 2-inch dick and go at 100 miles an hour and you'll get your job done. No, no, no. You need to swing for the fences, sir. Because there's 15 other coaches that would cut your throat in a nanosecond. Why not come out and say this stuff? Are you upset because you may have to see them on the sideline once a year and then you got to see them in Atlanta for SEC Media Days? That's the only 2 times you got to deal with them. In the end, who gives a shit? Go after them. We need more confrontation here. You are a head coach for the last true gladiator sport. Okay? There's only 16 of you in the league. You are supposed to be a leader of men. Stop being passive. Come out and just say it. I heard this guy was going to Texas A&M and they're getting that. Or this guy's going to Louisville and they got that. That's why they've got better players there. That's what you need. That's what you need. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. If you would like to join us here on the program this afternoon. Also, the idea of head-to-head matchups, how far back do you go? Is it a 20-year window? The idea for me is HDTV. If I can't watch the game in HDTV and not the shitty setup where it can convert to high definition, I'm talking about they taped it in high definition and you can watch it in high definition. I think that's about as far back as you should go. And then you can tell whether or not two programs are on the same level with each other. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. If you have a business, would you use NIL? That's the other thing too. NIL's already shown that it can be a pickle. Ask the people at Ohio State where Quinn Ewers got, 6 figures and never took the field and then left. That can happen too. That can happen too. Big Barney Ross with a comment there. His wife was sending the money and couldn't come out and say it. Halo Master says, "Who's removing my post?" Look, I one thing with the chat thing that's going over there. I'm running the whole show by myself here. Generally, when Kale and I do it together, he can look over there in the chat room and monitor stuff and stuff like that. I don't know, but there is a group of admins. I do trust some of them, the ones that I know that are admins. But if someone removed your post, it probably didn't need to be there because it may be something that may get us pinged by YouTube. So I'm just saying. Generally, the folks that are admin over there, they are pretty good folks. I know some of them. So I don't think people are removing your stuff. Maybe you're trying to comment on a different show. I don't know. Let's go out to the phones. 803-470-2905. Work, damn it. All right, here we go. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Rob. I just want to make a comment and get your opinion on.
Sure.
Is there anything the ACC can do about the Swofford disaster of a TV contract? Because that's all the talking heads, after they talk about, how you're going to have these super conferences and the ACC is on its deathbed. Swofford negotiated this thing, and if I'm not an attorney, but I'm like, this is gross negligence.
He did it because thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Thanks for checking out the program. When they signed the TV contract that was a while back, first of all, Swofford didn't care about football. I stand by that. All this guy cared about was that Duke North Carolina matchup, the stuff on Tobacco Road, and making sure he didn't piss off the folks at North Carolina. I truly believe that. Everything was before I make a statement about anything, I'm going to make sure that the folks at North Carolina, the wine and cheese crowd, actually care, and they're going to make sure that they approve it. I believe that. I believe that.
Well, man, because I'm looking at this, and if I'm Clemson or Florida State or even Miami or as far down as Virginia Tech, I'm like, I'm just going to get together and sue your asses to get out of this grant of rights BS, because in a couple of years, the Big Ten is going to be paying close to $100 million, and I don't care how good your donor base is, you're not going to make up a $50 to $70 million deficit. It's just not going to happen. And the SEC is already taking steps, and I think they're going to continue to do so. But I've said for years, Clemson and Florida State do not belong in the ACC. I know Florida State's been down, but they will come back.
Hold on just a second. Let me give you a little bit of a history lesson here. First of all, Florida State had an opportunity to get into the SEC, and they told them, I don't want to go. Bobby Bowden didn't want to do anything with it. Okay? And that's true. No, that's absolutely true. All right?
Oh, no,
when the SEC expanded in 1991, 92, when South Carolina and Arkansas joined the league, one of the reasons that South Carolina got into the SEC, and it's going to sound like I'm pinning the Gamecocks here, but I'm not, is because Florida State didn't want to go. They were sold on Arkansas. They wanted Arkansas, okay? But they wanted Arkansas and Florida State first. And Florida State was like, nope. So Florida State could have been in the mix there in the SEC, but they didn't want to be there. So there's that. But yeah, the idea of them not being there though, if things were leveled out like they were supposed to be, and we lived in a vacuum, and Miami would do what Miami was supposed to do and actually be competitive the way that they used to be, and we would have someone in the Coastal Division that was worth a damn, but we don't. The ACC is literally Clemson and a bunch of threes. That's pretty much what there is. Everyone in the Coastal Division, I think the past 8 seasons, you've had a different champion in the Coastal Division, some ridiculous stat like that. And the conference, what do they put out there? They send out press releases in week 7 or 8. It's Coastal Chaos. Who's going to be on top in all the Coastal Division? It's like they mock themselves. They shouldn't be talking about that. If you're a true football conference, here's what you should be doing. You should take that one team that you've got, and you should be putting them on display. Your ACC digital network that I've got friends that work at, you should be putting out everything about how this team is the greatest ever. That's what you should be doing, not talking about, oh, it's Coastal Chaos. Can North Carolina? No. It's ridiculous. It's just silly. And I truly believe, especially if the stuff that comes out where, oh, we're trying to get an alliance with the Pac-12 and then schedule games that way to get more TV dollars that way. If that's the best that you can do, ACC, you need to just say, you know what? Just let our football programs go. We'll have Pac-12 games where Stanford can play NC State, and we can have the Academic Bowl, Stanford and Duke. Let's have that. Then we can preserve our basketball and everything else. So that's where the ACC is right now. I don't think they care about football. They can say they do. I think the new commissioner does to an extent, but I think behind closed doors, he may be getting a talking to about, you realize that North Carolina and Duke and the basketball here, that's what runs everything, right? That's what we care about. They're living in the Dean Smith, Mike Krzyzewski days where they think those matchups are going to run the conference, and it's not enough money. It's just not.
It isn't. And I would have thought that the pandemic proved that out. But It appears that the ACC has their head somewhere other than, at the negotiating table. I just, as a football fan across the board, I'm like, Clemson's got to bust this, and whatever differences they have with Florida State.
It's financial survival. That's what it comes down to. If you're a football program in the ACC, it is financial survival because the current roadmap that they have. Now, if the ACC is able to get ESPN to come and say, all right, we're going to give the ACC and the Pac-12 the same amount of TV money that we're giving the SEC, which if that happens, I want to talk to the sales rep that gets that squared away from the ACC because they could literally sell a ketchup popsicle to an Eskimo. All right. I mean, that's the level of stuff you're going to have. If they get that to happen and then the payouts are going to be about the same, okay, I can buy that. Or if we come into this and say, you know what? Hey, Boston College, we noticed that we gave you $40 million last year for football. You only spent $4 million of it. You don't really care about football. So we're going to cut yours in half. We're going to give you, instead of the $40 million, we're going to give you $20 million. You still net $16 million. I'm just throwing out numbers here. But we're going to give the rest of that money to Clemson because they're actually putting money into their football program and they care. That's kind of the way that if that happens, then it might be financially viable. But if they care about football and you continue to care about football, you're going to have to leave the ACC. That's why my hat is going to be a collector's item. I firmly believe that.
I hope it is because I've said for decades that the ACC effed Clemson years ago when I had hair and it was all dark.
I hear you.
By the third year of tacked on probation, and I'm still mad about it. And my wife of 30 years says, how can you still be mad about that? I said, because I'm a football fan.
Exactly. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you calling, man. I got to move on so I can get some more calls in, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for calling the show.
It. Great show.
You have a great day. All right. 803-470-2905. Thank you to Mr. Big Barney Ross for the super chat. The ACC is a super conference. Conference. Damn it. Big Barney Ross. I think Big Barney Ross sits around and writes these things for me to say and then spends his money in super chats to get me to say stupid things like that. Way to go, Big Barney Ross. Way to go. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Andre asked if there's any news on today. No. I do know that we're like less than 2 weeks away from SEC kickoff, ACC kickoff, SEC media days, and all of that. And we're at the point now where we're going to remember last year, Oklahoma and Texas, they all went about the same time, right there in the middle of that time there. I wonder what's going on that front behind the scenes. We need somebody like somebody to be following the Clemson Athletics airplane. And where is Graham Neff today? It's kind of where it should be. Billy with a top-notch comment here. What is Clemson waiting on? Could it be 56-100 record? Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Damn it, Billy. The Uncle Lou says the FCC can no longer hold Rob down. Yeah, that's I can say things here on the program now that I couldn't say before, and that's true. That's true. Big Barney Ross says when your football field says Kroger's instead of Kellogg's, Brown and Root, you're on the hind. You're killing me, buddy. You're absolutely killing me. 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. You want to support the show, there's the way to do it. Shout out to the people who have sent some cash my way. I appreciate it. It's so weird because I did the rundown show for 4 years and I prepped for a show every day. And then when iHeart made their change, it was weird because I didn't have a show to prep for. And to be honest, I was kind of popped there for a couple of days. I didn't want to do a show with Kale, and then I was like, you know what? This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I think I was meant to do. And I'm going to keep doing it as long as I possibly can, to be honest. So we'll see how that works. You folks throw in some stuff my way. As always, I appreciate it. Rose Sanders 1979 at gmail.com. Cash App is $Rob Radio 1. Venmo is at Rob and Stuff. You guys are awesome for doing that. Show Memo says, if Rob reminds me of WKRP, you can now say booger. Thank you for that. Yeah. We'll see how long this goes. Uncle Lou says this is the biggest move since Stern went to satellite. That's funny. Look, I and trust me, I'm working to get a full-time job. And I'll have a job. I've got plenty of things that I can do, and interviews and all that good stuff set up. But I'm going to continue to try to do this show. I really am because I just like it. To be honest, I may end up working for a radio group that doesn't have a sports talk, and I may just have to go this route. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Dakota says, remember what West Virginia's state flower is. That's something I'll never forget. It is a satellite dish. Jay says he sent me some more lunch money. Thank you, Jay. As always, I appreciate that. You guys are awesome for whatever you send. So just kind of motivates me to come back to the show and to keep going because I actually think people give a shit and like it. When you sit in a box and you do a show, you don't really know. Sometimes you don't really know where you are, and you get response out of folks. But hey, this is it, man. It's just me, my microphone, my camera, and my little flashy light thing so you can see my face is aging. There you go. Big Money Ross says he's still trying to figure out how he spent $19,800 on chicken nuggets this year. The Uncle Lou says Joe Rogan announcing that he's refusing to allow Trump on his show is a big boy move. There's a whole thing there's a whole thing with that is interesting. If there's certain people you don't want on your show and you just decide, hey, I don't want them, it's his show. Now he's going to piss off the folks that are the hardcore Trump supporters. We know that. Not to get into politics on the show, but hey, if you decide you don't want someone on your show, why not, man? Dakota says it's okay to age. That means you're getting wiser. Yeah. That's true. All right, 803-470-2905. Last call for phone calls this afternoon. I'm kicking around names for the show. I don't think I can use the name that I used before because I don't want to piss off the big corporation folks there. But I thought about calling it Happy Hour with Rob. Why not? We can all sit together and drink something. Today, I'm drinking a Zoa, which there you go. You can see that. That's Dwayne the Rock Johnson's energy drink. If you they should be sponsoring the program, by the way, because I buy Zoas all the time. Zero sugar, ladies and gentlemen. It does have some caffeine in it. This is the wild orange flavor. Burp, 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 burp. Dwayne Johnson, if you're watching the show, you could be the title sponsor for this program. You should be, by the way. I'll push that Zoa stuff to the moon. Welcome into the program. Good afternoon.
Hey,
Hello.
Rob. Just wanted
Hey,
to
what's up?
interject an opinion. With all this thing that's going on, I really don't think that the ACC is going anywhere anytime soon. Just because if, like, say, Clemson or North Carolina or Virginia Tech, Virginia want to leave, I don't know what the buyout is, but that long television contract, doesn't those, like, what do they call it, those grant things?
Grant of
That
rights.
that the schools, yeah, wouldn't they have to, like, pay that off for that whole time? Or
Well, what
could that be
happens is,
hundreds of
and
millions of
not
dollars?
yeah, not to cut you off there, but what happens is that they have the rights to your media content. So anything that is filmed with on your campus is theirs, which basically
Mm-hmm.
means that no other conference is going to want you. Hey, we can have you, but anything that's on your campus, we can't sell. That's
Mm-hmm.
basically what
Mm-hmm.
it
Okay.
boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
do
yeah,
remember the same thing back in when Missouri, Texas A&M, and Colorado, and all the Big 12's done, and all of a sudden they're fine. I do think that yes, the Big Ten and the SEC will be the top dogs on the roost, but I do think the ACC and Big 12 and the Pac-12 will survive. They'll pull in other teams and they'll get some other television deals. Now, yes, will they make SEC and Big Ten money?
yeah.
Probably not, but I do think
Well,
that
but
those conferences will survive.
respectfully though, survive in what way? And I'm not trying to be
The,
combative with you here, but if I'm Clemson and I'm spending, you know, I don't know what the number is as far as their football budget. I'm gonna look that up and I'll have that for Monday's show. But
Mhm.
I guarantee you they're spending, I would say 5 times, maybe 7 times more than a lot of ACC programs are spending. And yet those ACC programs are still going to get the 35 million, which is what Clemson got last year.
Mhm.
And 2 years from now, Rutgers is going to get 100 million. So
Yeah,
if I'm
no,
Clemson and I'm looking at that, that's not going to work.
and I do agree with you on that. But I said so. Yes, the ACC could lose a couple of marquee football programs, but I said they will survive. I think they'll bring in other schools to take Clemson's place, and Clemson will probably end up being an SEC team here in the next few years. But I said the ACC will survive. They're not going to just dissolve and go away.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they'll dissolve and go away, but I think when you go to ACC kickoff, which I will be at in a couple of weeks. By the way,
Mhm.
thanks to my buddy Ben Simmons, the recruiting coordinator for the show. He is 7 foot tall and the best damn ping pong player that you'll ever see. For sponsoring the show along with Dennis Wilson for DNC Trucking and Transport. But I think that if I go to ACC kickoff 3 years from now, it's not going to be Clemson and Florida State that I'm going to be talking to. It's going to be Marshall. It's going to be maybe insert another team. I use Central Florida, but they're already in the Big 12. I mean, you can look at it from that perspective of Marshall, maybe a Toledo. I mean, I'm just throwing out names here that may be in the ACC, and some of those blue bloods are probably going to go away.
Another quick question.
Sure.
Will Notre Dame join the Big Ten, or should the SEC do whatever they can do to try to get Notre Dame to join the Southeastern Conference?
Well, first of all, this is just my opinion, and I never would have thought that Texas and Oklahoma would be joining the Southeastern Conference. I was one of those people that was like, yeah, all right, whatever. Texas had their own damn network, okay? But
Mhm.
I don't see Notre Dame going to the SEC. I think that they would go to the Big Ten or the ACC, and I'll tell you why. the ACC is not as far-fetched as you think. They'd have to pay a pretty good buyout. I think it's after 2025 to get the other sports out of the ACC. So there's that. You have that end of it there. But I think that Notre Dame, from everything that I've read, Notre Dame still wants to be independent. And as long as NBC is going to continue to give them the big money that they've been giving them, they're going to continue to be independent. Once NBC decides, you know what, we're not going to give you that money anymore, then Notre Dame is going to have to go look somewhere. I know they're one of the richest universities as far as their endowment in the country, but they're going from getting nothing to, hey, we could get 100 million. Money wins.
Now, let's just say that Notre Dame, for some unknown reason, joins the ACC.
Right.
Does Clemson say, okay, I think we're going to stay because I think with Notre Dame in there, the money's going to be better?
Well, if the money is better, but here's the thing. It's going to come down to this. If you can get within 10 million, I'm using that as just a round number of what, because the SEC is going to have probably 115 million, I think was the number that I read. Okay. And then the Big Ten is going to be at about $100 million payout per year per team, 3 years from now. If the ACC can get to, say, 95 million, then Clemson can be like, all right, we can possibly deal with that and go from there. But to get there, they're going to have Notre Dame, and they're going to have to get somebody else. The one team that I think that would be viable for them would be West Virginia. But I think the academic folks that are from North Carolina and the Dukes and all that, they don't think that the Mountaineers have the academic standards that they want, and they're probably not going to approve it. They had a hard time stomaching Louisville. All right, and West Virginia's academics are a little bit further down the line from them. So,
yeah, well, I will have to say, I think at least back 10 years ago, I think my Missouri Tigers did the best thing they could, jump and ship and join the SEC with all the money that's coming their way.
Mizzou, by the way, you're exactly right. That was a great move for them, and it was a great move for Texas A&M, being the only Texas team in the SEC. Ended up being a great move for them because they moved out of Texas's shadow. And the fact that we lost that rivalry game where Texas and Texas A&M used to play each other, I mean, that sucked. But in the end, Texas A&M was able to kind of move out of that shadow and go from there. Hey, I have to ask you this before you go. Being one of the Mizzou fans that watch the podcast here, how big was that rivalry with Mizzou and Kansas, the border war? I mean, you guys hated Kansas. I mean, and still do, obviously, right?
We still do. It is a missed rivalry game. And then part of me actually wished that when the Big 12 was kind of starting to have some problems a few years ago, that Kansas would have jumped to the SEC. And then let's say that Iowa State would have jumped over the Big 10 so they could have those rivalries. I mean, I'd love to have the MU-KU border war rivalry back. That would be great, but you can't argue with how prosperous that the university has done in the sports wise with that giant amounts of SEC money flowing in every year.
Yeah.
I mean, money talks.
Money does talk. Hey man, I appreciate you calling the program. Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you later, Rob.
All right, there you go. The Mizzou fans calling into the program. We appreciate them as well. The chat room, by the way, y'all are all over the damn place today. Uncle Lou's over there giving out cable advice or non-cable advice. Thanks for that. Andre says Rob should join ESPN so he could ride the SEC. And then there's he spelled out some word with silliness. I don't know, Andre, but thank you for the super chat, Andre. I'll read your super chat comments. I mean, I read Big Barney Ross's comment about spending, what was it, $100,000 on chicken nuggets in 18 months. That sounds like Big Barney Ross has issues with chicken nuggets like Deshaun Watson has issues with massage therapists. If you spend $100,000 on chicken nuggets in 18 months, that's as bad as Deshaun Watson with 66 massage therapists in 2. That's kind of where you are there, Big Barney Ross. But I appreciate it, you with your super chats. All right, final call for calls. 803-470 2905. Well, welcome into the program. Good afternoon.
It's me.
Hi, me.
Did you just say West Virginia didn't have academic standards?
I said West Virginia didn't have the academic standards that North Carolina would want. That's what I was saying. They look down upon their academics there. You got to listen to the whole thing, brother. That's what I meant. But
I did.
if I didn't
I didn't
enunciate
want
that
you
well,
to
I'm
think
sorry.
that these teams didn't have people that couldn't read cat and hat too. Come on now.
Well, North Carolina, it is on record that North Carolina gave away African American studies degrees basically out of the window of an Arby's to basketball players and football players, and they didn't get anything out of it. That actually
I think
happened.
FSU has a clown curriculum where you can major in.
Do they really?
clown.
I mean, do they really have a clown curriculum? I mean, let's just.
I
know,
think so. Uncle Lou's in the chat. He's somewhat associated with Florida State.
You can go.
You know, I lived
Florida
in the
State.
Panhandle. I never seen it for myself, but I understood you could go to Florida State and get a take clown.
Hold on just a second. Let me make sure I'm on the same page here. You're telling me that at Florida State you can go down there and major in clown studies. You could be a clown. Yes. Get the fuck out of here.
No.
Wait a minute. Hold on. My wife is an educator. She has multiple degrees. Honey, you can go to Florida State and major in clown studies.
Look it up.
Her eyebrows just raised up like, what the hell? I got nothing.
Look it up. This is the same school that the players got caught cheating on a music appreciation test, and it was open book.
Look, I'm not debating you on this. You're probably right. This is not me arguing with you about the gimmick offense at Tennessee. I mean, if you're telling me this is true, I don't know why you would throw shade and lie to me about this. I mean, you are under the influence of medication, though. Maybe you're
no. I'm good.
I don't know.
I'm good.
Yeah, all right. So
look in the comments. JetMax said this is true.
JetMax says 100% FSU has a clown college. I wonder if I can pull that up really quick. Hold on, let's see here.
There you go.
Yeah, my wife's looking at it right now.
Hey! Before on a serious note here, I want to throw something out here, and this could be groundbreaking.
Sure.
But I see potential for a SEC ACC YouTube show that could involve you and somebody in the chat. Lou.
I already do that with Carolina Jackpot, man. Oh, I don't. And Carolina Jackpot's an SEC guy. Oh, wait a minute now. Carolina Jack. I will not have you besmirching Carolina Jackpot, sir.
Carolina Jackpot is good people. Everybody should be as a devout fan as he is.
Exactly.
I respect
you gotta walk that back. You gotta respect him for who he is. So there's that. Thanks to Peg and Megan for the super chat there. Appreciate it. Hey, good stuff there. Thank you, Billy. Get your knee well, man.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Oh, God, it's a killer.
I know, no joke, right? Peg and Megan says, great week, Rob. Keep it going. Yeah, I'm going to try, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, we've had a good week of shows here. And you guys are a part of it. This is the people's show. People say that, but it is a people's show. You know? I don't know where else to go with that. I mean, the show, I bring things that I think are important. And hopefully, if you like some of them you don't. Some of them I've actually seen people in the chat just say point blank, I don't want to hear that shit. And then we pivot and we move on. I've got that pivot down better than some folks like who's the great. Remember Akeem Olajuwon, the Dream Shake? I can pivot out of a topic in a nanosecond. We could be talking about one thing over here and we could go the other direction in a second with the instant feedback that you folks have in that chat room there. All right. Anyway, once again, great week of shows. If you want to support the show, some of you already have, especially your super chats are great. If you want to send something via the PayPal, Cash App, or the Venmo, information is right there. Daddy-O says called it Rob Unscripted. I kind of like Happy Hour with Rob, but I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thank you guys. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. I'll be putting stuff out Yeah, Jay says I'm a great pivot man for a force. Holy shit. That's the way to end the show. Thank you, Jay. We'll see you guys.